not good.
Howdy folks, welcome back to Rustic Garage. This time around we're going to be getting this big block here ready to go in pickup. I'm going to pull her outside and get her cleaned up. Get her spray down with some gunk and scrub her up, hose her off. Before that though, I'm going to go ahead and pull the accessories off. Everything but the alternator for now, maybe even the alternator. Just get a good clean setup. And we'll figure out what we're doing with the accessories later. I think that's about as far as I'm going to go with this, as far as the accessories go for now. And we're going to work on deleting this thing, which I think has to do with the PCV valve. Not really 100% sure what this does, but we're going to go ahead and delete it because what I looked up says it's not really necessary. Alright, so I got that crossover thing pulled out. I went ahead and stuffed the hole with a rubber glove I cut in half. Took all the accessories off, even the water pump pulley. I wasn't going to pull this off. I think I got to pull the crank bolt, so I'm not going to do that. So move this table out of the way, or roll this thing outside, blow it off with a leaf blower, and then wash down with some gunk. So I got most of this blown off. I used a flathead to scrape up some of the thicker gunk that was stuck in there, so it's a little easier to clean. Went ahead and put some tape over the gaps here in the intake, just to keep water and shit from getting down in there. And we're gonna go ahead and spray her down and keep moving. All right, so next day, I went ahead and let it dry out for a few hours in the sun after I was done. It looks like I got pretty much everything. Obviously, it's still kind of rusty, but all the grease is gone, all the dirt's gone, and it looks better. I originally intended to just put a light coat of paint on here, then I said, nah, I'll just wash it and we'll throw it in like this, and I'll paint it some other time. I changed my mind again. We're going to go ahead and do an old Ford Blue. First things first, though, I got some things I got to fix. With this, the macro thing we pulled out right here, just a hole going into the block. I don't want to thread and tap that because I'll have to pull the heads off to remove the shavings. So I found these. A little mini freeze plug. It goes right in there. Just gonna pound it in. Kind of like that one there. Something like that. So next thing I want to do is I want to remove a bunch of stuff that's going to be in the way and cap it off or block it off with tape, including our lift plate here. I'm going to remove that, remove these studs, and tape off the intake manifold. We're going to remove the water neck, tape that off, or remove these vacuum lines or vacuum plugs or whatever, and put some caps in there. Remove the distributor, crankshaft pulley, fuel pump. I'm going to leave the oil filter in there because that's going to cover that. I'm going to tape off our exhaust ports, tape off this area here where the bell housing would normally cover. I'll probably put some tape around the oil pressure sensor as well. Oh, that's not good. So here's something interesting. That is a spreadboard manifold, and that is not an adapter, that's just a spacer. That is a not good thing. I guess you can get away with it, but we're probably just gonna go ahead and replace this soon. Not today, but soon. Don't do that. All right, changed my mind. I'm gonna tape off the intake and the water neck. I'm not worried about this stuff because all this is getting replaced. All right, so when we're removing our distributor, we wanna make sure it goes back in the right place. And a good place to start is to make sure that cylinder number 1 is at top dead center on the compression stroke. And on Fords, it's over here. So this is cylinder number 1. So we'll pull this valve cover off. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull the cap off the distributor. Gonna put a big socket on a ratchet on our crank pulley bolt. We're gonna turn it over and watch these two valves. That one's going down. Other one. They're both up. All right. So I don't think this was set right to begin with. I got the feeling they set this like it was a Chevy, where number 1's over here and not here. Anyway, it's not a big deal because you just run the correct spark plug wire to that side, and it's not a huge deal. But we're gonna pull it out anyway. All right, seems a little frozen there. We're gonna find something to pry it up with. A little lube juice. There she goes. We'll make sure nothing falls down in there. That's garbage. All right, we'll try something different. We're just gonna stuff a rag in there. I think I'm trying to do a little too much right now. I just want to get this ready to mount in the truck. I got a lot more I want to do. Obviously, I need a new intake. But the point of what I'm trying to do here is the minimum I need to do to get it to mount in the truck. That is the motor mounts and the pan. So if I'm going to do this paint, I'm just going to do the block. I'm going to go ahead and remove the fuel pump, cover that up, and then I'm just going to put a crappy coat of paint over it just to make it look kind of pretty for temporary. And then I'll just have to brush it off later. I don't have time to go all out with it. I'm not painting it. I ain't got the time, I'm not painting it. As there were 23 bolts. Most of them were 7/16, and the 4 around the main seals were 1/2 inch. Yummy. Yeah, so there's still a little bit of oil in there. I got most of it out. Oh, that's not good. Well, looks like I need a pump. Not necessarily something wrong with this one, but the pickup I have is supposed to bolt on, and this is not the bolt-on type. Rats. So you can see here, this is the pickup that I ordered for the rear sump, and how it bolts on. It's supposed to bolt on like that. Let me see how this one goes. Nobody will attach that, so I definitely need to order a different pump. Good times. Might actually have time to paint it after all. Pump's been ordered. It's on its way. I don't know what's gonna get here, so I'm gonna throw the pan back on, bolt it back down, pull it back outside, and do another round with the gunk, clean it up real good. Once it's dry, we'll throw some ugly paint on it. All right, she's a lot cleaner than she was. A lot more of the grease out of there. There's a tiny bit of oil coming through the valve cover. There's a little bit left in the engine. Got most of it out, so I'll just wipe that down with some brake clean and a rag tomorrow, and then spray the whole thing down with prep, wipe it clean, and coats primer, 2 coats of paint. Should be good to go. See you all in the morning. here she is, all painted up and pretty. Looks so much better than the just a bare block. Like I said though, I'm not worried about these valve covers. I'm gonna sand them off and paint them some other color if I don't wind up replacing them anyway. The intake's getting replaced. I'll show that when I get to that point. After pulling the fuel pump out, saw the chain in there, and it looks like it's a little loose, so I may have to pull this whole front assembly off and place a timing chain. No big deal. Might change the cam as well. You never know. The pulley, I don't know if it's just stuck to the balancer or if it's all one piece, but I took the bolts out and it won't come off. So I'm gonna have to find my puller and pull that off. The pump's not gonna be here until basically too late, so it's gonna be a while before I can get to it. Like I said earlier, this whole point of this is I just wanted to get to a point where I could just drop it in the truck and I could worry about everything else later, because it is a running engine, or it was before I took everything off of it. I just want to get it in the truck and fire her off, but we'll have to wait on that for a while. But you know, come on back. We'll be here.